Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I got a book review for you today. This is Turning the Tide, How a Small Band of Allied Sailors Defeated the U-Boats and Won the Battle of the Atlantic by Ed Offley. This is a great book. I'm really interested in maritime history, and World War II is especially fascinating. The U-boat war in the Atlantic is really quite something. So there's a battle between the German U-boats against Allied convoys trying to send materials and men over to Europe to bring down the Nazi regime. And this is just fascinating. And this book goes through in detail how this was accomplished. And we have to go back a little bit to World War I to think about convoy systems were developed during World War I, also to deal with German U-boats. It's almost like that was a dress rehearsal for World War II in many ways, not just the Battle of the Atlantic. And this is really incredible. I always had thought that the Germans in World War II, that their U-boats were really good, which they were, but I thought the Germans had the technological edge in World War II. And this book stunned me because they didn't. And the Allies actually weren't aware that they had the technological edge right away. It took a while to develop. Let me tell you, battling those rough seas of the North Atlantic, especially in wintertime, is a really rough undertaking, no matter how good your technology is, especially for the 1940s. I don't want to give away everything about this book, of course, but this was just really fascinating to me, how that unfolded. So here's the table of contents for you to look at. And it just gives a lot of information. Now, there's one particular, a couple of convoys at about the same time that it focuses very carefully on. And you would think that just focusing on a couple of weeks of activity would be a little bit tedious, but it's not. Offley gives so much information about the entire Battle of the Atlantic and then keeps weaving it through this narrative about a couple of convoys and a fast convoy and a slow convoy. And it's just incredible. And a couple of U-boat crews that he focuses on as well. And there's really not a lot of chapters. And this is actually a quick read. Even though it's several hundred pages, you do have lots of pages of notes. Notes, 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 and notes. Offley has done his homework on this book. This is extremely good. So if your interest is maritime history, if it's submarine history, if it's just World War II in general, if you're interested in merchant marine history, all of that makes this a really good read, or if you're just interested in history in general. For any one of those areas of interest, I would definitely recommend this book. Definitely a page turner. I couldn't get enough of it. And I actually bought this book used at the USS Slater Museum in Albany, New York. I'll have a link to that in the description. But that's a great museum. They have a destroyer escort, the USS Slater. It's one of the only surviving ones out there, I believe. And so it's neat to see a destroyer that took part in battles, skirmishes that are detailed here in the book, Turning the Tide. And just imagine that thing pitching and rolling in the rough seas of the North Atlantic and having torpedoes screaming by. Just amazing. Incredible book. So I love maritime history, even though I'm not a sailor. But this just is really cool stuff. So that's it for this very brief review. But this book is great. Definitely recommend it to you. All right. Have a great day.